Hey everyone, I'm going to be talking about the two new NFTs that Telstar will be releasing and putting on sale. I'll discuss the sale date, utility, best use case, and my thoughts. On Monday, January 30th, 2023 at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, Telstar will release the Diamond Water Pump NFT and the Grand Aquifer NFT for sale in the Gala Games Store. The Diamond Water Pump will be a legendary NFT that costs $350. There will only be 100 in supply for sale, so it will be incredibly limited. The Grand Aquifer will be a rare NFT that costs $110. There will be 1,000 in supply, so there will be plenty of stock. Both will be available for purchase using either Gala, Town, or credit card purchase. At the time of recording, the Diamond Water Pump has a purchase limit of 2 per transaction, but that may be changed to 1 per transaction. There is no transaction limit on the Grand Aquifer. As for utility, I will actually refer to the Telstar playbook where I have added this information that better explains it with a visual. The Diamond Water Pump will provide 2 passive water drums to surrounding tiles only. But the most important thing is that when you place a working Diamond Water Pump, it will double the effect of any in-game water pump, the Rare Water Pump, and the Grand Aquifer. So as you can see with the buff, the Rare Water Pump, instead of giving 3 passive water drums to surrounding tiles, it will give 6. For the in-game water pump, instead of giving 1 passive water drum to surrounding tiles, it will give 2. Now the Grand Aquifer is special in its own way. As you should know, any water pump requires either a pond or a waterway next to it in order to operate. Not the Grand Aquifer. This NFT object can be placed anywhere since it has no placement requirements. This is very useful because you can use it to provide water drums to mines without having a pond nearby that would slow them down. So it does provide 1 passive water drum, which to be honest, it's not impressive, not on its own at least. With the Diamond Water Pump placed, the Grand Aquifer will be doubled and will give up to 2 passive water drums. Now, unlike water pumps, which have a fixed proximity range of 1, which means that they only provide water drums to tiles surrounding them, this does not have a fixed proximity range, so the buffed version of this will give 2 water drums to surrounding tiles, and then it gives 1 water drum to the tiles that are adjacent to the surrounding tiles, just like this visual shows. Also, I want to mention that the reason that the Diamond Water Pump can only give 2 water drums is because it normally only gives 1 water drum, but it always buffs itself when placed. With the utility explained, I will talk about the best use case and share 4 examples I made using the Town Guide EU visualizer. However, we're going to have to use our imagination a little bit because these new water pump NFTs are not actually on the visualizer, but I do have an idea of how to use something else that's pretty similar. So the first example is no Diamond Water Pump and 1 Grand Aquifer. These Haunted Maze Zone number 4 is going to act like our Grand Aquifer. Instead of giving 1 passive nectar, just pretend it gives 1 passive water drum. Now it can be placed here because it doesn't require to be next to a pond or road or waterway or anything. So you can use it to supply 1 passive water drum to 2 mines next to it. And that would really only work for iron mines since iron mines only need 1 passive water drum. You could also use it just like any regular pump without needing the pond. So you could put it here in the center, and that should be able to power up your power plant and your steel mill, your refinery that requires 1 water drum for petroleum. You could also use it to give 1 water drum to pottery shops or lumber mills that need it for lumber. Just some examples, just like a regular water pump without needing to waste the space on the pond. Moving on to the next example, 1 Diamond Water Pump and 1 Grand Aquifer. Now just pretend that one of these water pumps are a Diamond Water Pump and that doubles the effect of the Grand Aquifer. So right here we're using a Haunted Maze Zone 2. Since that usually gives 2 passive play, just pretend it's 2 passive water drums instead. So with this setup, we have 6 mines in the corner, and as you can see, if this were to give 2 passive water drums, it would reach all 6 mines with only 1 passive water drum. So this would work if all 6 mines are crafting iron, not anything else, just iron. The 2 passive water drums would also help out the steel mills right here in this situation, but this isn't really important. This is just putting stuff together for the visualization here. So this is pretty good, a good way to use it, and that's just 1 diamond water pump and 1 Grand Aquifer in play. Now the next example is a diamond water pump, 1 rare water pump, and 2 Grand Aquifers. So in here, assume that this one is the diamond water pump. Right here we have the rare water pump, and its effect is doubled to 6 water drums to everything next to it. So this steel mill and this steel mill, well, steel requires 5 water drums to craft. So both of these steel mills would have all the water drums they need. Now these 2 steel mills, they would only have 2 water drums just from this one. But that's not the important part. So the important part is looking down here. We have what we're assuming to be 2 Grand Aquifers, and they are both boosted, giving 2 passive water drums in up to 2 passive water drums. So this is just an example with iron mines again. And yes, it supports up to 8 mines crafting iron, which is pretty good for a steel build. Now on to the last example. It's a diamond water pump and 2 Grand Aquifers. However, in this build, we are assuming that we need iron, chromium, and limestone. Such as wine build, you actually do need all those minerals in a wine build. So assume that one of these are the diamond water pump, so all the effects get doubled. And assume that these haunted maze zone 2s are the Grand Aquifers. So limestone and chromium actually needs 2 water drums in order to craft. So if you wanted to make everything passive, you would want to, of course, supply them with 2 water drums. So with this setup right here, we can have up to 5 mines have 2 passive water drums. That could get you 3 chromium and 2 limestone, for example, which isn't very balanced for a wine build, but this is just an example of what 2 Grand Aquifers can do. And to the side of both Grand Aquifers, you have a tile, 2 tiles with only 1 passive water drum, and you can use both of these to craft iron with. Hopefully that helps you understand the use case for the new NFTs. And finally, I'll share my thoughts. As far as the diamond water pump goes, in my opinion, it's going to sell out fast, like within 2 minutes. There is only 100 of them, and the utility, if you do own multiple rare water pumps and the Grand Aquifers, is good. Not amazing, but it is good with all that. We're talking over $700 worth of NFTs just to make this good. This is one of those NFTs where there's no good reason in having more than one as far as gameplay goes, because you only need one to double the effects of all the water pumps, and they can't double more on top of that. That's not how it works. Okay, so if you don't have any rare water pumps or Grand Aquifers, and you don't plan on getting any, I don't think you should get this NFT. It will double the effect of in-game water pumps, but I think it's not worth the price tag just to do that. If you do have at least 2 rare water pumps and you're planning on getting 1 or 2 Grand Aquifers or more, then I understand why you would want to get this NFT, and I say if you have the money to spend, go for it, as it will help you and you will make good use of it. I myself am planning to get this NFT, maybe even 2 to resell one of them. Yeah, I know some of you may hate me if I end up doing that, but I'm just being honest. This NFT is going to get flipped by flippers guaranteed. However, whether there's profit to be made, that's uncertain. As for the Grand Aquifer, well, I mean, if you already secured the diamond water pump, then yeah, you might as well buy one or however many you want. If you don't have the diamond water pump, I don't think it's worth it. Like, yeah, you'll save 1 spot from not needing a pond, so you can have better power plant placements, for example, and not having to worry about building your first in-game water pump. But the rare water pump is cheaper and it gives 3 passive water drums, which in my opinion is still better than the Grand Aquifer in terms of not being buffed. That's all I have for this video. If you're interested in seeing me cover more new NFT sales, let me know. Eventually, I will cover the NFT utility for the NFTs already in the game, so stay tuned for that. Let me know if you're planning on buying these new NFTs or what you think about them. Also, if you are planning on buying them, remember that you need to have your transfer code ready to type. You need to have Ethereum to cover the gas fee if you're paying with Gala or Town, or have your credit card information already in your account. And last tip, if you are paying with crypto, pay more gas than the default lowest amount to make sure that the transaction goes through. Consider liking the video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.